Hey guys, this is Jake from Jake's Board Reviews, and today we're finally getting around to reviewing the Too Happy by Channel Islands Surfboards, and this one's a stock 510, 18 3/4 by 2 5/16, and it comes in at exactly 26.7 litres. Now, the difference between this one, you might notice it's a Team Light board. It's a stock board, but it's actually a board they made for Wade Goodell, so it's pretty much exactly the same as what you would order stock, but this is Team Light glassing. So the difference between Team Light glassing is on the original Too Happy, the normal stock board, there's a bit more beef in the front of the board, so they keep a bit of volume, like almost like a slight beak at the nose of the board, but everything is kind of similar except for obviously lighter glassing equals refined rails and thinner rails. Let's discuss this board a little bit. So I won't be getting footage for this review as the weather's been crap again. Seems like always this time of year hits about April and, you know, holidays, and the weather's so fickle, you just never know what you're going to get. Anyway, so without further ado, talking about rocker, it's a medium entry and a medium exit. So it's got a fair bit of curve. Fin-wise, if you're choosing fins for this board, you want to look at either the Neutral Legacy series, the F6, or you look at the AM1s or the Coffin Bro fins, or even you can go John Johns. I actually find this board with a neutral set is really good. I find the problem, if you are thinking of going a team glass board, like a 4x4 light glassing, I find the issue is there's not enough weight in the bigger swells when it gets a bit bigger, which this board is meant for. So I didn't find I enjoyed the lightness in kind of bumpier surf. It felt like just due to that, there's a single to double concave, so the single comes and then it kind of just starts, the double starts just above the fins here. And then, yeah, so it's just a single to double concave, extra lift, a bit of a thicker tail compared to the original Happy. So the original Happy had less tail area and less thickness in the tail. Squash tail as well. What I was going to say is that the neutral set seemed to work really well on this board. So a neutral fin is great, a rake fin, any fin that you prefer will go great in this board. So the difference between the original Happy and the Too Happy is that they've added a bit more tail rocker, and he's added slightly more entry rocker in the board. And also, I feel like the wide point is actually slightly pushed back, because I've heard from mates who've surfed the original Happy, they said heaps of foam under your chest. I feel the foam a little bit, but it's definitely not right up front. They've slightly moved the wide point a bit back, so it's kind of just above center potentially, but it's yeah, I wouldn't say it's front from center. It's more like center, but they've left a bit of foam, hidden foam in the front. Rail wise, now on this board, obviously the rails kind of feel like low to medium, but they're kind of on the stock board. It's a fuller, like medium to fuller rail, so that's going to help it get over those flatter sections in the. Definitely for the bigger swells. Don't surf this board when it's 1 foot, but it is a really good board. I'd say the only issue is it does feel a little bit finicky, and I'm talking about the stock and the Team Light board, is the stock board and the Team Light both felt a little bit finicky in the tail sometimes. So for some people, that's obviously they said they addressed that in this edition of the Too Happy, but I think for some people they're still going to feel that finicky issue in the tail, which is obviously there still for some riders, but for me it didn't bother me so much. Tail wise, I grew up surfing like thin tails pretty much since a kid, so it's more of a modern evolution to put thickness in the tail, and I think that's like a modern era of surfing is what they're trying to go for, to try and make surfing easier for people starting out, and also older blokes who want to still ride a shortboard. So yeah, they're trying to make surfing easy in that sense, but for me, thicker tails doesn't really always work. That's the only little issue in the Too Happy. Other than that, it's a really good choice, and I'd recommend that if you're riding it in bigger waves, go raked fin, and then when you ride it in smaller wave setting, you can go neutral. I felt the stock board, I could just leave a neutral set in the whole time. If you're an FCS, I would recommend the Koloe and Dino fins or the accelerators, somewhere along that line. And I also when I originally rode it, I rode a stock 511 at 28.2 litres. I like what fins do I like? I like the reactors. So you'll see on my first impressions that I did like that. Anyway, I apologise that we couldn't get footage for this review. It is kind of like a mini step up, the 2 Happy. It's not something you want to ride when obviously the waves are over 8 foot, but below that, like, it's kind of your all-round choice for waves 3 to 7 foot, I would say. That's where it sits comfortably in the range. And I've ridden it in pretty small surf, but obviously you got to get the thing going, and it's a hassle to get the board going in small surf. Anyway, that's the little red patch signifying the 2 Happy. So there's three boards in the series. You have the Happy, you have the 2 Happy, and now there's the Happy Everyday, which came out quite a few months ago. It's very hard to keep up with all the modern boards coming out at such a rapid rate. So yeah, there's a lot of different craft to ride. Anyway, that's a review of the 2 Happy. My verdict is that I'll mention one more thing level-wise. If you are, I'd say if you're a beginner surfer, like high-end beginner, you don't really want this board. But if you're low-end intermediate to advanced surfer, just go if I ride a 510 at 26.7 litres, I could also ride a 511. So don't be afraid to go bigger with boards. Yeah, that's the 2 Happy. Great little board. I'd say that, yeah, I would keep this one if it was a normal stock board, because obviously it's a bit more user-friendly than normal stock board, but because it isn't, it does struggle in the team light glassing in those more bumpy conditions, which I'm kind of surfing average conditions most days. So yeah, that's the 2 Happy. Kind of stoked with it, but yeah, not going to keep this particular one. But Channel Islands, if Channel Islands want to send me one, I'll be more than happy to grab it. After I review the Fever and Spine Tech, I'm going to do a bit of an alternative board switch. So I'm going to start riding boards that are more fun to ride, which I've kind of been wanting to do. So yeah, I hope that gives you the basis of information for the 2 Happy. I'm not sure if it's an improvement on the original Happy, because I haven't ridden the original Happy as of yet, but I'd like to try it. I've heard from the shaper it's a bit more user-friendly, and I trust him. Anyway, this is Wade Goodell's ex model, so he rode it, and that's why there's a few pressure dings, because you've seen the airs he does in his free surfing clips. If you haven't seen him or heard of him, check him out. He's an amazing surfer, and he's also a great creator. He did a great surf film called Pentecostal. If you want to check that out, if you want just pure brilliant surfing, free surfing, which is usually the best type of surfing compared to the tour. So, AM1's a medium, feel good. That's the 2 Happy. Yeah, I would keep it, but just team light glassing, it's not going to last me very long. So I'd like to get a stock board eventually when I get the time. But there's a lot of other boards I'd like to review, so I have to keep constantly seeing which ones will stay and which ones will go. That's part of the process. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I'd love to help you guys out with choice and answer them. Anything you have will kind of go good in the 2 Happy, especially the stock one. Anyway, thanks for watching.